Okay guys, hey, this is just a follow-up on the little 12-volt air compressor video that I made showing this little air compressor that I cobbled together and Frankenstein with parts I had laying around. Reason I'm doing this is mainly because it was dark last time I showed you this, and plus I just used it. That tire right there was completely flat, and that's a 17-inch truck tire. So, you know, that's a pretty good test. And it took me 2 tankfuls of air. I got to see the gauge a little better in the daylight, and it actually kicks off at about 107 psi. But from 0 psi up to the time it kicked off, that was 1 tank full. And then I left about 10 psi in it and refilled it again, because if you let it run completely empty, the reed valves in the compressors, it takes them just a little while to build up some pressure, and once they get some pressure against those reed valves to hold them closed, then it really starts picking up. But it took, I think, about 8 minutes to do both tankfuls of air and, you know, come over here and air this up. And it probably is not completely full, but it's good enough to keep it off the dirt and everything. And I had a guy that was interested in this old truck, so I just wanted to air it up and keep that tire from breaking off the bead or whatever, in case he wants to come look at it and pull it out of here. But anyway, so the little air compressor does works pretty good. It's not very heavy. I mean, you know, but I think I mentioned last time, I do want to put a handle on. Comes up basically over like that, where you can just pick it up, maybe wrap the cord on it. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I'm scavenging parts to split into this supply line, put a manifold on, so that I can have a shutoff valve to hold pressure in the tank, because it bleeds back through the heads on this. So that would be, you know, cool if you wanted to shut it off and go do something for a while, or you're using a nailer or stapler. This won't run big nailers, but this will run pin nailers and my little staplers and stuff that I've got that are pneumatic. But also on this manifold, I want to have a pressure regulator for the nail guns and the staplers. But the other thing I could do is shut this valve off going into the tank, and I can move my hose over to that manifold with a quick connect, and I'm going to put an on-off switch, which I don't have right now. But then I can put a locking tire chuck on the tire, on the stem, and I can come over, turn that valve off going to the tank, and flip that switch, and my compressors are just filling my tire, which should make the process a lot faster, because I'm not starting it up, bleeding the tank, going back. I mean, this vehicle doesn't have a battery in it. If it had a battery in it, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But I also built this, you know, to take to the trailer and the camper and stuff like that. So in that instance, if you could reach it with the hose, you could just air your tire up straight off of the compressors. So it's not done, but it is working. It's serving its purpose, and it was basically made out of junk parts I had laying around. So I just wanted to do a video in the daylight where you guys could actually see it. If you haven't seen the other video, I'll explain it real fast. This was an old Buffalo, I think it's a gallon tank. This is an old Buffalo 110 volt compressor, and it blew the rod, and so that compressor unit was thrown away. This compressor unit is a twin that runs on a 12 volt, basically it's a starter motor like on a lawnmower, and I did not build that unit. It came that way. They used to make these for air horns and air ride suspension. You could get them out of J.C. Whitney catalog, probably still can, and I had it laying around, and it fit on there pretty good. I am wired through the pressure switch, so it kicks off at, I believe it's about 107 psi. Got a pop off, got my pressure valve so that I can, or pressure gauge, I'm sorry. Got my pressure gauge so that I can read and tell what everything's doing. Just a word of warning, if you're building compressors, don't ever weld on the tanks. Okay, it's not worth it. I knew a guy that built his own compressor and it blew up, took his arm off. It's not worth it. If you need to mount something to the tank, run a strap all the way around it and bolt it around it. And do that method. Don't weld on the tanks, guys. It's just not worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Obviously I've got some leaves to rake. So, see you guys later. Thanks for watching.